Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another episode of B is for Build. We're back working on the camper truck. Now this thing started life as a crashed 2005 Dodge Ram 3500. We decided that we wanted to build a camper vehicle that we could take outdoorsing, but also tow our builds to different races and things like that. So we started by fixing up the front end, cut off the damaged frame rails and all the crash damage, replaced the frame rails, fixed up the engine a little bit, got it running. Then we pulled off the stock truck bed, built our own bed for our camper back, started building the walls for the camper, eventually had a whole camper with walls, and then we did a front end conversion on this thing to make it look a little bit more modern, and here we are today. Harbor Freight has hooked us up with our full wish list of products for this camper. We've got solar, we've got power inverters, we've got generators to create power, we've got tow stuff, we've got winches, we even got a welder. We've got a portable welder for this build, and we're gonna install it all in today's episode. It's gonna be a lot of good stuff. Stay tuned. Before we get down to work, I want to take a second out to thank our sponsor. Today's episode is sponsored by Factor. I absolutely love Factor. I've been personally using Factor for over the last 2 years before they ever sponsored a video. Having used them for so long, I could just totally speak from experience here. I'm gonna give you my 3 top reasons why I love Factor. First and number one for me is the ease of use. Factor gets delivered right to your door. I throw it in my fridge, I grab it. I can grab it on the go, or if I come home really hungry, I can grab one and know that I got good, clean eating. It takes 2 minutes to prepare. It saves all the time of the meal prepping, the chopping, the grocery store visits, the cleaning the dishes, if you don't want to use a dish. So it's fast, and I know I'm eating clean food that makes me feel good. It's friggin' delicious. Second reason for me is health conscious. Personally, the food in Factor makes me feel very good. It gives me energy throughout the day while still keeping me feeling full. And some of you guys have noticed I'm not the same small Chris I was back when I started the channel. It's something I'm always working on, and Factor has helped me personally a lot to reach my weight goals. They have these dietitian approved calorie smart meals that are around or less than 550 calories per serving, and they still taste great and keep me full. And the third thing for me personally is gonna sound crazy, but I can get some really good food from Factor that I'm not gonna get other places. Like this one right here is one of my absolute favorites. That's why I chose it for today. It's ground beef and thyme cottage pie. I don't know where else to get that, and it's really, really good in there. I love that it's good, clean eating, it's fresh, never frozen, it's ready for me anytime I just wanna grab one out of the fridge, and I can have a meal ready in 2 minutes that makes me feel good, and that's what keeps me coming back to Factor. So guys, I highly, this is my most highly recommended thing that you go check out. Head to factor75.com and use code BISFORBUILD50, and you're gonna get 50% off of your first box. Huge thanks to Factor for sponsoring this episode. Such a cool thing to work with a company that I've been using for so many years. Let's get back to work. Before we get too far into this, I'm feeling really self-conscious about this new camera. You guys commented a lot about the quality of the videos, and I watched one of them. Sounds weird to say it like that. I watch them all. I edit them all. But I watched it more closely. A lot of the problem is that we don't have our lighting set up in this shop yet, but our old camera was a little bit old. So I bought a brand new camera, but I'm constantly worried it's gonna do something weird or I'm gonna do something wrong. Fingers crossed, we're doing our best. We're learning some new hardware here, but I did buy the best in the business for you guys to try and up the quality a little bit. But now's the time. If you wanna critique what's going on, critique it now in the comments. As far as, you know, don't just say we suck, but you know, like as far as the cameras and the quality of things, critique now so maybe I can get in there and fix it before we go too many more years. Anyways, let's dive into this awesomeness. So we don't want this whole episode to seem like a giant ad for Harbor Freight. They are our very good friends. They partnered with us on a ton of builds, and they are extremely generous with helping myself and a bunch of other YouTubers out, and they're a great company. So I hit them up with this huge wish list, and they said no problem, and that's where we are today. So we're gonna be showing off a bunch of their cool stuff. So huge thanks to Harbor Freight, and obviously there's a link in the description. Now, jumping into this, we're gonna start easy early. The winch right here. We've got a 12,000 pound winch for the front end. We've also got one for the back end. The front end one should be a little bit easier. At least that's where Oscar wants to start. It could be a little tough. So this bumper has space for a winch. I don't know if it has space for the winch. The other thing that I want to note is you guys commented a little bit that the bumper seems like it's given the vehicle a little bit of an underbite. So we're going to be sliding the bumper that way about an inch to try and help out with that. And other than that, it's just the design, and this whole thing isn't meant to be a show car. We have we have show cars. This is an adventure truck, so I kind of don't care how it looks, but we do want to, you know, take your guys' advice and slide it in a little bit. So we're going to work on modifying the bumper, sliding it in, and getting the winch installed. Slight change of plan, changing direction a little bit. Since the bumper has these holes for this lighting right here, and the headlights honestly aren't super powerful, we decided that we were going to go ahead and install, these were originally going to go on the upper corners of the camper back, but we've actually decided that we're going to install these 3-inch floodlights in our bumper to fill up these holes and give us that extra lighting as we're towing around, because sometimes it is necessary. So we got those installed. Oscar, you want to give them a little test shot? Blast me. Whoa, yeah, they work. They work great. Cool, man. If you look at the wall, yeah, it's nice and bright. So that's these guys from Harbor Freight, and let me show you our idea for up top. So you may notice up top is really far away. Like, this is my hand as high up on the thing as I can go. So we'd have to get a ladder to adjust those or whatever. So we actually decided that we're gonna go with these. Now these are uber powerful. They're about as powerful as a car headlight. So they are insanely powerful. And they magnet and then they rotate. Whoops. So we are going to use a set of these and always keep a set of these in the truck with us. So if we're like camping, we can put these kind of below eye level so they won't blind us. And then we can just click them on wherever the power button is. Yeah, we'll click them on like that. And luckily, since we made it out of metal like geniuses, it's magnetic. All right, now we're going to go ahead and get the winch in here and get the bumper slid back a little bit more. The guys got the bumper installed with the winch installed as well, and you can see that we slid the bumper forward quite a bit, and it actually makes a huge difference as far as how this thing looked like it had a pretty gnarly underbite. I think it really, really helps with the look. Got this awesome 12,000 pound winch mounted into the bumper right in here. Massive Badland winch. We need to get a D-ring from right here that we can hook our little lead to. So I was a little curious about why this bumper has like big holes in here, but it's actually so you can reach down, hit your winch, and then activate the free spool. And then the winch has a wired or wireless remote right here, so you can see in somewhat electrocuted Oscar and then out. And is the back of this magnetic? They thought of everything. Hey, you know what? We also thought of everything because we made the entire thing out of metal, and now we won't ever lose that. Oscar, you want to show them the old fog lights working? So we wired the, well, I guess they're fog lights. They're just very, very bright fog lights into the fog light switch inside. And yeah, you can see how much they overpower the headlights. This is for that situation where you're towing, it's late at night, it's really, really hard to see on the road. There's obviously nobody around you. Oh wait, never mind. What am I saying? These are for off-road use only. I'm sure it's gonna say somewhere. yeah, thanks Harbor Freight. All right, moving on. Next bright idea we got is to mount this bumper from carparts.com. We widened it out to match the rear width of the camper rather than the stock truck. And now what we're gonna do is cut a little hole in there, and we're gonna mount the second winch behind it. So it means two things gotta go down. We gotta get the winch mounted to the bumper, and then the bumper finally mounted to the truck. Rear bumpers installed, looks really good. So check out all the features that we got into here. So in the rear bumper, we went ahead and jumped on eBay and got some generic lighting. Turn signal right here, yellow, brake lights right there, red. That's really cool, and it's got a nice little rubber bezel, so we just cut out a hole in the bumper, threw that in there. We got our other Badland 12,000 pound winch, which is super awesome. And we've got the trailer socket all installed here into the bumper and the license plate lights as well. And we left room to throw a license plate on the side there and the other one. So nothing is wired up in here quite yet because we are waiting on some resistors. Those LEDs don't provide enough resistance for the truck to be happy. We're waiting on some resistors for that. And for the winch, it's just gonna go into our battery pack that goes right here once we get it done. So we're now moving on to the next thing out of the goodie pile, which is gonna be our new light bar. 52-inch light bar, 11 gazillion lumens. Definitely don't try and drive with one of these turned on. It's a hazard for off-road use only, right, Oscar?
I see it so often.
Yeah, I know, it's so annoying. I hate when people do that. But headlights, like they make headlights that are only, I wanna say hundreds of lumens, not thousands of lumens. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, don't blind somebody with something that's 100 times more powerful than a headlight. But these are super cool for off-roading, and that's the name of the game with this bad boy, off-road adventure vehicle. So we're gonna go ahead and get this thing mounted. It's actually pretty simple when we're welding everything because we built it out of steel. So we're gonna just go ahead and sand this down so we get a nice weldable surface, and we're aiming for the top railing of the camper right there. Got the light bar installed. It was pretty quick install. Like I said, a lot of just welding up a quick bracket and bolting that on there. We're gonna run the electrical through the face right there, and we're gonna wait to run that electrical. We're gonna do all the electrical all at once, so we can also run the electrical to our new solar panels. So we're on to the next step, which is the solar panels right here. We're going solar with this build. We don't know what we're gonna use these solar panels for other than the fact that they create power, and we're gonna use a lot of power. So solar panels from Harbor Freight. These things are pretty cool. We actually tested them out, threw them in the sun. We got like 25 volts on the sun on our little voltmeter, and these things are pretty badass. It says with 5 hours of sunlight, you can charge a laptop for 9 hours. You can use a 15-watt lamp for 33 hours. A lot of potentials here. So we're gonna install 2 of them. They sent us 3 of them, so we're gonna have a backup or one to use on another project. We're gonna do 2 of them up here on the front of the camper. Right there, in the middle, running vertically. Good luck, nobody fall off the roof. Well, it's really hard to show you guys because it's really up high. I'll have to yell to the camera, but that's the solar panels mounted on the roof. I like the package. It looks good. And keep in mind, everything is gonna be black in the end. And once we get those painted up and everything, it's gonna look really cool. Next, we're gonna go ahead and jump into some of the electrical components. Generators, power inverter, our mobile welder. We're gonna get these things mocked up in the back and start to see how the whole package is gonna look. We are building a back shelf. If you imagine it was in this wall, it goes like that and down like that. So big box right there that's completely sealed off from the inside, and that's where all of these things go. But also for running the generators, we could put them on our tailgate as it drops down, or obviously just put them outside. But let's go ahead and get everything loaded in and see how it looks. We've got so much generator power. It's slightly overkill, but for our goals with this thing, we do want to be able to power a lot of gaming rigs, and they do take up a lot of power, so we've got power now. Really cool thing that you can do too that they provide us with. So these are 3,000 running watts, 3,500 starting watts, each of them. and then you can tie them together using this guy right here, and you can get a like it says right there, 6,000 running watt circuit. So you got your big boy right there. It says not for 240 use. We may test that later. Sorry, Harbor Freight. And then that guy right there. So that is really, really cool. And that's a way to link these two units together and get a ton of watts, 6,000 watts. And kind of the counterparty to the gas generators is this pure sine wave inverter that they provided us with right here. Now this is a 3,000 watt pure sine wave inverter, and it's going to be able to connect to a deep cycle battery bank that we run. And that is probably, while we're on the road or where we're parked and we're okay with running the battery, this is going to be powering everything. So we need to build an electrical layout that can either be powered by generators running outside of the vehicle or this running off of our battery bank inside the vehicle. So it's got to be swappable, which is going to be pretty cool. And 3,000 watts is going to be able to do everything that we need to on the inside as well. And another really cool thing that they threw in here is a MIG welder. This is a flux core MIG welder that has been getting really, really good reviews. And they just chucked it in and said, you know, if you're like out and you need to work on parts, they wanted to provide us with a welder. So that welder can run off of that generator. And they say really good things, Oscar, so we're going to have to give that thing a try sooner than later. Yeah. Yeah, it's really small. It's our new mobile welding unit. So the game plan for this this box that we're building interior is it's this tall, so it connects up with this. So we have some room here above the generators for storage, and then we're going to need to put a battery bank that goes back there, and then along with all the wiring that runs through the cabin as well, it needs to be able to connect to either of these units and be swappable. So that's one of the next things that we're going to build. If you see that bar that's cut off right there, that is how far the box goes deep into this into the cabin here. So you can see we've got a lot of space still left. Even though these take up a lot of space, we still have a lot of space left, so that's really good too. Space for things like the rest of our goodie bag. We got tow straps, we got tree straps, we've got power inverter cables. Harbor Freight's really upped their game with off-road stuff lately, and they got a lot of cool stuff. What else we got? Oh yeah, these are cool. Soft shackles, these really come in handy. And they sent us 3 of them, and Oscar said he wanted one. So here you go, Oscar. From Harbor Freight to you.
They actually sent us 4. I already took the other one.
Okay, fine. 3 for this build then. I don't know why we'd ever need 3. And we got a big ass snatch block. This is really cool. 24,000 pounds. Let's pull a semi-truck. So in the next episode, we need to do a couple things. We need to paint. We also need to run electrical. Pretty good deal of electrical that needs to be done for this thing, but I think we could figure it out. Oh, we have an electrician coming in to help us work on the shop, so we can also make sure, have him look at it and make sure everything's looking smart. Also, our neighbor's an electrician too, so we can just ask. If you guys are like us, you want to see how loud those generators are, we will be powering them up in some episodes very shortly to come, so just stick around. We have to fire them up to use them for a special project. And we'll, oh, you know what we'll do? We'll give that welder a test fire, and we'll throw up a video on our second channel, Behind the Build. We'll have that on there shortly. I'll put a link in the description if you want to check out Behind the Build. I'm sure a lot of you guys have noticed, Oscar and I have kind of been working in parallel. I've been working on Tesla, Oscar and Zane have been working on the truck, but I'm gonna need to borrow Oscar for a pretty big surprise. We got a big announcement coming, and I need to borrow him for a little bit. So we will pause, but this is BS for Build. We finish every project that we start on, as long as it doesn't float. Actually, since a lot of you guys have been asking about the schedule, the way it's going is work on the Tesla, finish the truck, well, special announcement, finish truck, finish boat. We're this close with the boat. We had a small, you know what, I'll leak it to you guys right now. We had a small break because I was contemplating Tesla swapping the boat, and we're gonna do gas for at least one summer because we're running out of time. We just gotta get it on the water. So if that means we're going forward with gas, it's really easy and we're just gonna get it done. So as soon as we get the truck done, we get the boat done. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe so you don't miss our boat content, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace!
Come on.